You and Chris are going to be in here talking about God knows what.
Test your mic there.
Hello.
Hello. That's the one I had the other one on. Okay.
Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, you get to be here when we're testing stuff. Ain't you special? Ain't we special? Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, can you guys hear me back there? Can you hear me? Yeah, well then shut up. Get off the stage. Hey, you want to get off the stage? You guys want to shut up?
Oh, if you're sticking around, why? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Retro Show. It is an homage to growing up in the 60s, 70s,
really
and
like
80s.
that word,
like we
homage.
did. It's an homage. Especially the 70s and 80s when we grew up. Grew up is kind of a subjective term.
Yeah.
Our formative years,
It's not.
which apparently I was hitting the head a lot. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Butch Renfro, and I'm joined at the podcast table in the palatial Retro Show studios by one Mr.
Chris Curtis. Hey, what's up, guys? Peace, love, night train. Woo! Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
We got a good crowd. We got a good audience.
He always gets all the applause. I don't know what it is.
There's a reason for that.
Maybe it's...
They're all on Team Chris.
Yeah, I know. They're all on Team Chris. And if you'd like to get your team... See how he just worked that in there where I could say, if you would like to get your Team Chris shirt, yeah, you can head over to retroshow.net, click on our store, and order you one of those. You can also get a Team Butch shirt, but, you know, why would you want to do that?
Let me tell
I think
you,
even my wife is wanting to get a Team Chris shirt.
Let me tell you why you should get a Team Chris shirt, okay? Yeah.
By the way, those are pretty tasty. I just want to tell you.
Very tasty.
Those are pretty good. Folks, here on the Retro Show, like I said, we'd like you to go to retroshow.net. You can hook up with our Facebook there. We have a telephone number there that you can call us at.
501 697 9933.
That is it.
How much would you give for that? Wait.
But
don't
there's
answer
more.
that. Don't answer yet.
You can call and leave us a message. You can even text stuff to that. Did you know that? Because I know some of you people are into texting. But you can do that if you want to.
Smiley, you know who you are.
Smiley. Okay, so James McLean. So, James, you've been blowing us up on Facebook. I'm going to address you, sir. Okay, so...
I had no idea.
Here you go, spark plug. You're getting attention. You wanted attention. You got you some. Smiley.
Ted Schneider. Ted Schneider's welcome on this show anytime.
Ted Schneider. Ted Schneider. So like Ted Knight. Oh, Billy.
You'll get nothing like it.
You'll get nothing like it. Spalding.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, folks, we've already gone off the rails. It's gone off the rails in the most delightful way. Guys, topic of today's show, and when we get around to actually talking about that, or we're going to be talking about some of the top albums of 1984. And when we get to that, but first, Chris.
Yes, sir.
What's happening, man?
It's just another... I don't have big words. Like Butch uses big words on here. I think he's got a thesaurus or something. You know, I bought a thesaurus one time, got it home, all the pages were blank. I didn't have any words to describe how mad I was.
I know. Ladies and gentlemen, the dad joke of the day.
It's just life, man. It seems to be, this is one of those times that they say they come in threes, and I hope I got my third.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying?
That.
It's just one thing after another.
Yeah.
Clutch went out in the car.
Clutch went out. Oh, dude, how old is that car?
20 years old.
20 years old. At least 20.
Yep.
What is it? Wow. Because you've had that a while.
2004.
2004.
It's damn near 20 years old.
Well, I think you got your money's worth.
I did, and it's a good car. I don't want it to go away.
Yeah.
That's the deal. I have a truck also, but I drive my little car back and forth to Little Rock.
The clutch went out. But is that the first time the clutch has gone out?
No.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, if you got 20 years on the clutch, man, you did really good.
It's actually not the clutch. I think it's the slave cylinder off the master cylinder. Okay. So we're going to get it replaced.
Yeah, 220, 221, whatever it takes.
But it left me stranded in the middle of Dave Ward in 5 o'clock traffic.
Ew.
I finally got it in second gear. It's like, and then I just drove it in second gear to my buddy Art's house and parked it in front of his house until I could get it somewhere else.
It's going to have to stay here for a little bit.
He was all right with it.
I'm sorry, man.
It is what it is. But I mean, there's been other stuff, but that's, it's more personal, and I'd just rather leave it at that.
Okay, gotcha. But anyway, folks, one thing on the show that we like to let you know that you can do is you can contact us, as he mentioned before. We do have a phone number. If you'd like to call and leave a voicemail, you'll probably end up on this podcast, and that is
501 697
9933.
Smiley, you better buy you a Team Chris shirt. That's all I got to say.
I know, man. I'm telling you. Anyway, folks, yeah, we got lots of fun stuff over there at the store, and I'm just going to be completely transparent with our listeners. Their shipping costs are a little high on that now. I'm trying to work on that at the moment, and find other
shipping is high on every freaking thing, and it's like you order like a thing of Tic Tacs, and it's $12 to ship Tic Tac. What the hell? Seriously?
To ship Tic Tac? What's wrong with you people? But,
do you young people know what Tic Tacs even are?
Yeah, but so tell you what's been going on around here this week is I finally got around to mowing, because I'm going to tell you right now, as we're recording this, it is August 29th. Now, this probably won't air until close to October, but I'm telling you, at the time we're recording this, we just got out of some massive heat.
Dude, it was ridiculous.
It lasted for a long time. And my yard, I was just,
I got heat sick the first time ever in my life.
Yeah.
We went to Fayetteville to take my son back to the university up there and move him into his apartment, and my wife and daughter were going to go shopping. Well, I stated before, I play a lot of disc golf. My son plays disc golf. He's really good, and he wanted to go play disc golf while they went shopping. I was like, cool. And it was the hottest day of the summer, I think.
Yeah.
And we got out. We played a small junior course first, and everything was fine. But then we got on the big course, and we got the whole. I think on hole 9, I was like, dude, no. And he threw out of bounds on hole 10. He's like, Dad, I'm not playing very good. I'm just about ready to call it quits. I'm like, okay, I'm good. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, then we get over to hole 11, and it's uphill shot. And we both throw the shot, and I start walking up that hill, and we got at the top, and I'm looking, and it's turning back away from the truck.
Yeah.
The next hole, and I looked at him and said, son, I'm done.
Yeah.
And he took one look at me, and he goes, Dad, why don't you go sit on that bench over there and give me the truck keys, and I'll go get the truck. And I was like, and normally my pride wouldn't let me do something like that. But that day I was like, okay.
I'm glad you did.
I'm glad you did. And I went ahead and got in the shade. I sat on the bench for a minute in the middle of the sun, and then I was like, screw this. I saw a shade tree and went over and got on the shade tree and sat there until he pulled up the truck. And the next day, Sunday, I never left the house.
No.
I was sick.
It takes it out of you.
Oh, my God.
I got up Saturday morning, and the heat index was already, and this is the day before it broke, but when you want to do something and get it done. Right. I was at least a week past needing to cut my grass. And I went out there, and it was already, the heat index was up in the hundreds early in the morning because of the humidity. And I got done with that. And literally for the day, I was done. Yep. Now, here's the part. And you talk about pride. Man, in my early 20s, you remember I used to work for a distribution center down here. We worked 10-hour shifts in the back of 145-degree trailers.
I know. I've been there.
For 10 hours at a time. And I did it and didn't even feel anything, no adverse effects or anything now. Man, I couldn't make it 5 minutes doing that kind of work. No. I am so soft now. It's not even funny.
No. I'm with you, man. We're getting old, but
I know, but a lot of it is what you're used to, too. And,
no, it's true. I mean, I have an indoor job. I do.
Me too.
I mean,
thank goodness.
And I think we said this on the show before. I have nothing but respect for the guys that work out in the heat, and they work in the bitter cold. Yep. I envy them in the fall. I envy them in the spring. Yeah. But the rest of the time,
you can have it,
brother.
You can have it, dude.
Yeah,
I'm glad. These guys that are roofing right now.
Oh my God.
I can't even imagine that in this heat. But heat's broken now. It's actually been nice the last couple of days. I got to say, it's been very nice.
I know a lot of the construction crews. I know I got a lot of friends that are construction. They go to work at early, and they get off early. So
like really early.
Yep.
And then they quit. As a matter of fact, I remember the guys that go around and collect the garbage and stuff around here. They were starting like really early in the morning and finishing like late in the evening.
Yeah.
If you hear a weird beeping noise, my wife left her phone here, so someone's beeping on that. Guys, the topic on the Retro Show today, we're going to be talking about the top albums of 1984. Chris, there are just an embarrassment of riches on quality classic albums that came out this year. And when we come back, we're going to talk about those. This is the Retro Show. Hey guys, Butch here from the Retro Show, taking time out to thank our producers, and they are the LNC Corporation. You do not cross the LNC Corporation. Kevin Goff, Norton, Chris B., Nancy Schwartz, Joshua Ramsey, Fran Adams, E.M., Bradford Mason, and our first producer ever, Tanya Hyland. You can go to retroshow.net and find out how you can support the podcast for just $3 a month by becoming a show producer. We thank every one of you for listening and hope you have a great day. All right, guys, we are back on the Retro Show. The topic today is top albums of 1984. Guys, you don't want to know. You don't. You don't know. You don't want to know what I'm laughing at.
If I can make Butch laugh, it makes me smile.
He can. The top albums of 1984. Before we get into this, right here, and we're just going to be hitting some of the high points. There's no way, Chris, we can hit every huge album that came out in 84. But I will tell you this. Did you know that there were only 5 albums that hit number 1 on the Billboard Top 200 in 84? 5. Can you guess what some of those are?
1984.
Nope.
Van Halen.
Nope.
Really?
Really.
Hang on.
So
Hang on. Oh, Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA.
Born in the that's one of them.
Yeah. Hang on. Like a Virgin, Madonna.
Nope.
Really?
Nope. Didn't hit number 1.
Purple Rain.
Purple Rain was huge.
Yep.
The last half of that year. So let me give you the list here. It started off the year in January with Thriller, which had come out in 82, but still topped the charts in 84.
At number 1?
At number 1 for the first 4 months, dude.
That's insane.
Then the Footloose soundtrack hits. Remember, Footloose hit the theaters in 84. That was another big one.
You know, I bet I saw that movie 10 times just to watch the fight scene at the end.
I know. It was a great... And then Huey Lewis and the News Sports for 1 week in 84. 1 week hit number 1.
That was a really good album, too.
Listen, I'm going to tell you what. Huey Lewis and the News, I don't think gets a lot of love from folks. But I'm going to tell you right now, they were awesome. You go back and listen to those songs now. They're catchy, they're well done, and they're just good songs.
I liked them then.
I did too. Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, and then the last half of the year was just owned by Purple Rain. Prince.
And
only 5 albums hit number 1 in 1984, which to me is pretty cool. But man, you look at some of the other albums that came out that year, and I'm just going to just tell you some of them here. So Metallica,
Ride the Lightning.
Yep. Came out.
That was so new too. That style of heavy metal.
That type of heavy metal, because it was hard. It was good.
It was hard. It was good.
And that kind of term. Yeah, Judas Priest had been kind of doing hard stuff, but Metallica kind of took it up another level on that.
Judas Priest had an album come out this year too.
Yeah, they did. They had Defenders of the Faith came out.
Yep.
It was a follow up to Screaming for Vengeance, which had come out in '82. Huge album. U2's Unforgettable Fire came out that year.
See, I don't really remember that album.
That has Pride in the Name of Love on there. Yeah. So that was kind of their big breakout.
Yeah, but see that they weren't big then, so it didn't really they didn't register with me.
Yeah.
At that time they do today. But I'll tell you one that came out that year that was huge for everybody around this area for sure, and that was Rat Out of the Cellar.
Rat Out of the Cellar was a big...
That was a big album.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, that was the start. Well, no. There were continuation because Motley Crue was kind of the start of hair metal.
Yes.
But Rat was huge that year. And as a matter of fact, I remember getting... Because you remember I worked at a radio station at that time, and we got that single in at a station that we would have never played that kind of music.
Round and Round.
Round and Round came out, and I listened to it, and I was telling everybody that would listen to me, guys, you don't understand, this is going to be huge. Another big album that came out that year, Chris, Tina Turner, Private Dancer.
That was, Tina was basically on a comeback.
Yeah, she was.
She was on a comeback. She came back, and she came back big. She was a hell of an entertainer, man. She really
was. She'd gotten rid of Ike,
yep.
And she kind of came back. And what's really cool about Private Dancer is that they really just did a great job of just kind of reinventing her and kind of moving her into that direction. Another big one that year, a huge one, was I'm sorry, guys, my wife's phone's making noises. Let's see, Chris, I'll just... he's going to take it in there.
And we're back.
But another huge album that year, Chris, was Lionel Richie's Can't Slow Down, which I think had Dancing on the Ceiling.
I don't know what your list... I don't have that on this list that I'm looking at, but that's okay. I believe you. Yeah, Lionel Richie was huge. I loved Lionel Richie. I love his voice.
I do, too.
He was huge.
'Cause I'm easy. Listen, man, if you don't like Lionel Richie, you just turn around and get out of here. Yeah. All right?
I'll tell you one that came out that year, and I didn't realize it came out that year, and it wasn't as big on me then as it became after 1987.
Right.
Couldn't Stand the Weather by Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah.
That is my favorite Stevie Ray Vaughan album, and when I saw him in 87, that was kind of my introduction to Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. I fell in love with Stevie Ray that day, and he's the top and the pinnacle for guitar players. So
huge album. Dio had his last in line album. If you're more in the metal thing, more in the metal area right there, I can tell you that Iron Maiden had Power Slave. You had Metallica, Ride the Lightning, which we brought up before. Dio, last in line, Judas Priest, Defenders of the Faith. But to me, one of the better albums of that year from a hard rock and metal side of things was Deep Purple, Perfect Strangers, because they'd gotten back with Ian Gillan, who was who was their what they call the Mark II version of Deep Purple that sang Smoke on the Water and all of that. Kind of what's considered the classic lineup, and released Perfect Strangers. And I love that album today.
I'll tell you right now, Deep Purple's got a lot of really, really good music that is overlooked.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, if you delve deep into Deep Purple, you'll find some hidden gems deep on the album.
Their Coverdale area, their Mark III version of Deep Purple, as they call it, had some great Stormbringer.
Oh yeah, that is
album.
An awesome song.
Yeah, but also the Cars that year. You and I both love the Cars. Released Heartbeat City, which was a big time album that year.
I'll tell you. Go ahead.
No.
I was going to tell you a big album for me that year, and just because I was a huge fan of the vocals, Steve Perry had his first solo album that year.
Yeah, I had Old Sherry on there. Street Talk.
Old Sherry and Foolish Hearts.
Foolish Hearts.
Both of them big hits for him.
Yeah, big hits.
And big hits for me.
Yeah. Don Henley had Building the Perfect Beast, which had Boys of Summer on there, which is still one of my favorite Don Henley songs.
Yeah, and that video is really, really cool.
Yeah.
He's got the little boy sitting there playing the drum, and he's driving around the convertible. It's really cool too.
Yeah,
really cool video.
Song.
That's back when they played videos, guys.
That's back when, MTV just celebrated their, what was that, 43rd year, and thank you for, 15 years of music that you played on there.
Rush had a good album that year.
Yeah, was that?
Grace Under Pressure.
Grace Under Pressure. Yep. Yes, that was a good album.
And there's a couple here I'm going to mention that I was not a fan of, but there will be people out there that was a fan of.
Yeah.
Make It Big, Wham.
Yeah.
I mean, Wham hit the scene, and they were very popular.
They were very popular. Launched George Michael's career sure.
It did.
Reckless by Bryan Adams came out that year too, and that was a big time album. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're hearing there is the general manager. The general manager of the podcast, Bentley the Party Poodle.
Somebody's getting their ass ate up.
And he sometimes, Bentley has to jump in, and he has to put his 2 cents in. Now, another one that I was listening to then we'd mentioned Deep Purple, and we'd mentioned the David Coverdale era before. Whitesnake had Slide It In, which
big album.
Huge album. I had that one too.
I still listen to that today. I mean, that's a good album.
That's a really good album.
Another one that was huge that year, that it wasn't my genre of music, but you can't overlook it.
No.
That was Like a Virgin by Madonna.
Yeah,
that really
you
launched her career.
That launched it. That was a big cultural thing at that. And you're right. I mean, I didn't, it's not, but I think we also have to, because I have the hearts and the little symbols around it, we have to talk about 1984 by Van Halen, which is not my favorite Van Halen album during the Roth era, but I will tell you that it did have some it was their probably biggest selling Roth era album as far as commercially, because it had Jump on there. It did. Jump was all over MTV.
It did.
At the time. But yeah, that was a huge album at the time.
I'm looking at this Simple Minds album to see what was on here, and I just don't really remember anything off there.
Simple Minds, that one, I don't know if that one had Don't You Forget About Me. I think that was the next year that one came out.
But that was huge. That's
another one, not really my pleasure, but I will tell you that I will crank this song up sometimes when it come on. And
Wham!
No. Actually, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Relax.
Yeah.
That was off Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, and that came out that year. That was a big-time MTV era hit.
This band was huge, had really starting to take off at this time, and they became really, really big, and then they just kind of went away, and that was REM had an album that year, Reckoning.
REM actually...
they're not as big as they used to be.
I don't know, man, because I remember later in the 80s of them having some pretty big hits.
No, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this album came out, they weren't really that big of a thing, but then they got huge.
They were building. They were what I like to call a college radio station band at the time.
Yeah.
Because I remember playing them a lot at a college radio station at that time. I'll tell you another one huge that was big at the time in hard rock and metal, and that was Scorpions' Love at First Sting, that had Rock You Like a Hurricane on there. I mean, that was a huge album for them. But another one, and I love this song now, and that's Chaka Khan, I Feel It For You. I Feel For You.
I loved that song when it came out.
Yeah.
Chaka Khan.
Chaka
Khan. Yeah, good tune.
Good song from 1984. Let's see, who else had Stay Hungry by Twisted Sister in the hard rock and metal thing. Listen, here's the thing about Twisted Sister. They were fun for about a year.
Minutes.
Yeah.
That was one of those I looked at Twisted Sister and I went, yeah, y'all aren't going to be around long.
Yeah. Agent Provocateur by Foreigner came out that year. That was pretty, that had I Want to Know What Love Is on it. That was kind of their big album that year.
One I was looking at a while ago and I was going to mention, and I can't freaking find it now.
Bon Jovi's debut album came out that year. It had Runaway on there. And that was kind of their first little minor hit before they broke huge in 86.
That was a Runaway was a good tune.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was a good tune. And then at 86 was Slippery When Wet Hit. That good.
That just blew them all over the place. Dokken had their first Tooth and Nail.
I really liked Dokken.
I liked Dokken a lot. Those first few albums that they came out with in the mid-'80s were really, really good. And I'll tell you one on here that I really liked a lot, and that was Julian Lennon, who was John Lennon's son. Velotte came out that year.
What was the song that he had? He had a hit off that album. It was good.
It was called Velotte, and it was just a great song. He sounded a lot like his dad, which I thought was pretty cool.
I'm a huge Beatles fan. That's what the Pretenders. They had Learning to Crawl that year. Came out.
Yeah. The Thompson Twins. I remember that was kind of big in that in that kind of genre there. Glenn Frey had released his solo album.
They have Smuggler's Blues on it?
Yes, the All Nighter had Smuggler's Blues. I love that song still.
That song is awesome. If you listen to it, it tells a story about
it does
running drugs.
It does, and it was really, really. It came on. That song got big because remember Miami Vice was out at the time, and all of these rock guys would end up on Miami Vice, and so he ended up with Smuggler's Blues, and I actually did an episode where he starred in that one there. I'll tell you another great album that came out that year that had a huge single, and that was Scandal had The Warrior with Patti Smythe.
Yes.
Came out a great
That's
song.
what I thought. That's what I was thinking about the Pretenders. I've always liked the Pretenders, but Middle of the Road's on that album.
Yeah,
I was looking, and Back on the Chain Gang's on that album.
Back on the Chain Gang.
Album for them.
Another big hit that came out that year for Sammy Hagar was VOA. You remember that because it had I Can't Drive 55.
Yep.
Another big Sammy Hagar song that he still plays to this day. But yeah, that was 84 was just a great year for music. And I remember going to a lot of concerts that year, seeing Van Halen.
They all run together.
I know.
They all run together, and I just can't keep the years straight anymore.
It's hard to keep up with the years, man. But man, I'm telling you what, 84 was just a fantastic year for music.
The 80s that was a great decade for music.
It really was. In all genres there.
And it was in all genres. When the 90s hit, you were married. I was close to getting married. But then the grunge scene hit, and music kind of changed.
Yeah. It changed drastically.
Yeah, with popular rock music kind of changed with the grunge, Nirvana, Pearl Jam.
Yeah,
that's the name, the two that I would know.
Stone Temple Pilots.
I like Stone Temple Pilots.
I do like Stone
Out of all
Temple
three
Pilots.
of those, I like Pearl Jam and I like Stone Temple Pilots. I was never really a Nirvana
I was not.
fan.
Okay, here's the funny thing about that, and then I talk to people about this to this day. I was not a huge Nirvana fan by any stretch.
I wasn't either.
But I'll tell you what, I love the Foo Fighters.
You know, and I haven't listened to much Foo Fighters. There's a couple of songs that I've heard that I did like, but I haven't listened to much of it.
Dave Grohl is like, he is a fan. Is like he'll tell you if you listen to it. He like really loved music like by Queen and and all the classic hard rock bands and stuff like that, and that comes through in a lot of the music. Yeah, me too. So that
Stone Temple Pilots album that came out, that first one.
Yeah. Stone Temple, that first Stone Temple.
What is that album? 'Cause I have always had a copy of it, and I can't think of it to save my life right now.
Was that Core?
Yes, Core.
Their first
92.
one? Yeah.
Yes, and that man, dude, that
that
Dead
was,
and Bloated.
Yeah.
That song when it. Oh,
at that time. And they call it grunge, but I think that music was just changing.
It was.
And it needed to.
But that didn't sound anything like Nirvana.
No, but you had like Stone Temple Pilots that came out about that time, Alice in Chains. I really dug Alice in Chains too.
You and Monty both like Alice in Chains. I never really listened to them much.
But anyway, back to 84. Yeah. Going back to the 80s again. I can just tell you right now that there was a lot. Phil Collins was huge in 84.
Yep.
He had a lot of hit songs at that time. But guys, listen.
He's kind of wishy-washy tonight.
I am kind of wishy-washy. See, I always leave myself an out, depending on how lazy I am when I produce the programs. So there's that. Guys, listen, we love that you listen to this podcast, and we appreciate you. If you go to retroshow.net, you can find all the particulars about how to get in touch with us, how to go to our Facebook page, how to go to our store and buy our swag.
Team Chris. Just saying.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to tell you, too. Just get yourself a Team Chris shirt. There you go. There's the applause on that. Listen, guys. We appreciate all of you. Thank you for listening, and go out and make your day.
AMF, guys.